What is up, guys? So we are back for another video, and this week we have been spending time with the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee. So the car might look familiar to you, and that is because it actually has already been launched in the local market. But the Grand Cherokee R, which is the seven-seater, this week we've been spending time with the short wheelbase, the normal five-seater Grand Cherokee. So come along, I'll tell you guys all about it. So styling wise up front, as you can see, we've got full LED lights with daytime running lights. We've also got this orange reflector light, which you normally find on American cars, which I particularly liked as well. We've also got the 7 slats, which you normally find on the Jeep Grand Cherokees. Moving over to the side, we've got these large alloy wheels with a sort of two-tone finish to them. They also look pretty good, but be careful because they will be quite prone to curbs and the sort. Moving over to the side, we have Grand Cherokee badging, and the car is pretty long, but actually still shorter than a short wheelbase sibling. So we're at the rear now, and as you can see, we've got LED tail lamps. We've also got a model designation, so this is a mid-spec Overland model. And furthermore, we've also got a 4x4 badge because this is a true 4x4 with a low range mode. Checking out the boot space, it is pretty large, and this is one of the reasons why I prefer the five-seater variant because it has a really massive boot. We've also got a subwoofer in the boot, and I'll tell you more about that later. So I'm now sat in the back seat of the Grand Cherokee, and this is my driving position. And as you can see, I've got loads of headroom, enough knee room, as well as foot room. Interestingly, I can also adjust the backrest of my seat, like so, to get a more comfortable seating position. Practicality wise, I've also got some nettage over here and some storage in the door bins. Adding on to the practicality of the rear seats, we've also got some ventage over there. We've got two USB-C ports and two USB-A ports, along with a 150 watt, 230 volt AC adapter. We've also got heaters, seat heaters for both outboard seats. Front seat of the Grand Cherokee, and it is a lovely place to be in. We've got a really nice feeling leather wrapped steering wheel with some leather on the door insert and some wooden inlays over there. And we've got some Macintosh branded speakers over there as well as on the dashboard. Speaking of the dashboard, we've also got leather wrapping on the dashboard as well, as long as a heads up unit display. Over here on the infotainment side of things, we've got a large infotainment touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's also got an embedded navigation system. Everything works fairly well, but the system does tend to be a bit laggy and takes a bit of time and getting used to operate. We've got heated and cooled seats for the front and a heated steering wheel, and we've also got USB-A and USB-C ports for driver and passenger. Interestingly, we also have an HDMI port over there, and that is for the passenger side, the passenger screen, which only the passenger can see. So, interestingly, the driver can't view that screen while driving for obvious reasons, such as not to distract the driver. Moving lower down over here, we've got a rotary gear selector. We've got a selector for the different driving modes. So we've got rock, sand, mud, snow, auto, and sport. We've got a four-wheel drive low range button over here. And we've also got a control for the air suspension that the car rides on. We've also got hill descent control over there. And we've also got some cup holders which are fairly decently sized. So the seats that we're sitting on have some Overland badging over there, just in case you forgot which model you're driving. They also have electric adjustability, so forwards, backwards, upwards, downwards. We've also got lumbar support as well, which is pretty great, meaning that you can get into your preferred driving position quite easily. So we're now behind the wheel of the Grand Cherokee, and this car has been rather pleasant to drive. So under the bonnet up front, we've got a 3.6 liter V6 engine, naturally aspirated, and it is good for 218 kilowatts and 352 newton meters of torque. Um, the engine is quite refined, if you ask me. Although I would have liked to see Jeep introducing a turbo diesel. Now, that's not to say that there's anything wrong with the power plant, but I just feel that a car of this size would be better suited for a turbo diesel, which would have a lot more torque. But overall, the car is rather pleasant to drive, as I said. It picks up speed rather well, actually quite better than its seven-seater sibling, in my opinion. The V6 also, as you can hear, has a very nice soundtrack to it. It's also mated to a very slick shifting automatic transmission, which does its duties rather pleasantly. Comfort wise, the Grand Cherokee's air suspension does an incredible job at ironing out all of the bumps in the road. I mean, we all know how South African roads are, and this car does such a great job at ironing out all those bumps. I mean, you barely feel anything. So, the sound system. Guys, this car has a 19 speaker, 950 watt Macintosh sound system, and let me tell you, it is really up there with some of the best manufacturer sound systems that I have ever tested. It's got a surround sound sort of experience to it as well, and I wish I could play you guys a song, but obviously copyright and all of that stuff, I can't really do that. But take my word for it, the sound system is superb. The clarity is really, really up there along with the bass and the treble. It's really, really a great system. So we now need to talk about the price of the Grand Cherokee and looking at its competitors and cars that are similarly sized to it. I mean, we could look at the Mercedes GLE, we could look at the BMW X5, and those are obviously German rivals. And if we compare the price of those cars, spec for spec, to this model that we're testing, the Overland model, then the Grand Cherokee really does make for a strong case for itself. I mean, this model is priced at just over 1.5 million rand, which, considering all of the spec that you get as standard, features that you would have to pay quite a lot of money for in the German rivals, then the Grand Cherokee does make for a compelling case for itself. So this begs the question then that should you buy this over those cars? Well, I think consumers should definitely consider the Grand Cherokee. I think it's worth every buck, and it's a really, really well spec car, and it offers great value for money.